Welcome to the next episode of the Iowa Girls Wrestling Stories podcast. Today I have uh, three-time Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union finalist and four-time place winner, two-time champion from Mount Vernon, Libby Dix. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. And then I saw a big announcement. I believe it was a few days back, but I saw a big announcement that you have committed to track and field at Northern Iowa. That's pretty exciting. What brought you to
Yes.
that decision, I guess? What was
Yeah,
your choice in that?
so I went on a lot of visits for wrestling this fall, and I actually, when I started, I thought I was going to wrestle. And so I went to a couple schools, Wartburg, William Penn, Lindenwood. I went to Iowa last summer, and then I went to a few more, Sioux Falls, and I really liked all the schools, but then I went to UNI last and I loved it. And so, yeah, it was that's kind of what it was my last school. And actually, one of the things that my parents were talking about was you love every school. Like, it's going to be so
Uh-huh.
hard to make that decision because there's really nothing that I really hated about any particular school. So, it was definitely a tough decision, but when it came down to it, I really, I really loved UNI. I loved the coaches, and I loved the school. So, yeah,
Yeah, well, Northern Iowa's that's a great location. It's a cool town, a lot of stuff to
yeah,
do there. I don't follow track. I'm going to be real honest with you. So, you know, what's been your track like the whole your 4 years of high school track? What's been some accomplishments and some things that have happened for you there?
yeah. So my freshman year, I placed fifth in the discus at state, and then my sophomore year, I placed third in the discus at state and sixth at Drake. My junior year last year, I placed eighth at Drake and third at state again, and then also third in shot put last year too. So
Nice.
it's definitely been a um, similar to wrestling, actually. A little, a few couple less accomplishments, I'd say, but like it's also it's not as competitive as wrestling. You're out there on your own still, but also like your one throw determines um, like
Yeah.
you're not competing head to head. So it's definitely a little different.
Yeah. Have so when you're in at Northern Iowa, will you be obviously shot discus? But there's a few other throws you can do in college.
Yeah.
Are they gonna maybe convert you over to, do they do hammer throw for women and then also javelin?
Yeah. So and then there's also weight throw in
Oh, okay.
indoor, which is
Ooh,
similar to hammer but just a shorter cable. But I'll definitely try it out. So
cool, cool. I think that'd be kind of fun. I know you know Tatum Shepard.
mhm.
Her mom threw javelin in college.
Okay.
Just that's my only knowledge of the whole thing. But I do actually watch a lot of Olympics. So hopefully someday we'll get to see you there. That would be really cool. That
Yeah.
would be awesome. So we'll come back to wrestling because that's kind of what everybody's watching for. But when did you get started wrestling?
So I started wrestling in seventh grade. Well, technically, I started wrestling in first grade, but I really hated it because I was the only girl. And
Uh-huh.
so I went back out in seventh grade when our school started a club. And then I kind of stuck with it until eighth grade. The middle school boys season, I was doing wrestling and basketball at the same time, basketball practices in the morning, wrestling practices after school. And it was also COVID at that time, so kind of ended early. And then my freshman year, we were still with the boys, and it was it was definitely fun, but it all gets you better at wrestling. So those experiences are definitely something that I'm glad future girls probably won't have to experience, but also it was definitely the reason I'm accomplish as much as I did today. So yeah.
Yeah, that those years of wrestling with the boys, and a lot of times people don't know all of that right now. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the girls coming out never didn't have to do that, or
Yeah.
very limited exposure to that. I coached both boys and girls, through those COVID years, and actually way before that. But man, the injuries that happened, uh, especially at the as you go up in the weights, and your
Hmm.
freshman year, I think you wrestled, it was at 170, or was it
Yeah.
one? Yeah, so I mean, you're wrestling full grown men at that point in time. That's
Yeah.
a little,
I know.
that's not 100, 106, 112,
Yeah.
that's, where the boys are still freshmen and maybe haven't really matured yet. So yeah, that had to
Yeah.
be some rough practices, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Our heavyweight right now, Ethan Wood, he just placed third at state this weekend. He was my practice partner in eighth grade,
Oh,
and
well, very nice.
it was definitely an experience
I'm
for
sure you
both
learned
of
a
us.
lot though. That's really
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
How's the growth of your team been? Obviously, this year Mount Vernon is second in state. That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive, pretty awesome. I'm sure that's going to be huge for growing the sport in the school. But how has the
Mhm.
team grown since your seventh, eighth grade, your freshman year?
Yeah, so we started off with like just a club, and it was from like elementary school to high school. And we would have practices like once a week. And then as it kind of progressed, the year I was in eighth grade, there was four girls that wrestled at the high school. And then my freshman year, there were also four girls. And then the first year it was sanctioned, we had about 15 girls. And then last year we had about 20 ish. And then this year we actually split with Lisbon. So last year we were combined with Lisbon, and this year
Okay.
we were just on our own. And so it's definitely a little bit of a change, but the our team culture this year was phenomenal. Everyone was best friends with everyone. It was just really great, and I hope to see the same thing in future years for our team. So yeah.
Yeah, that's I have a co-op also, and now we're maybe at that point where we're getting closer to not dropping teams, but teams having enough people to have their own team too.
Mhm.
What was the difference, I guess, between the two, being in a co-op and having, I mean, I'm gonna guess practice started a little bit later, things like that. But what were some of the differences you saw from that year to this year?
Yeah, so last year, actually, our head coach Trevor Trendy, he teaches at Lisbon, and
Okay.
so he also still had to come over this year. But last year too, practices do start a little later. Sometimes we try to get everyone in there as fast as possible, but we also have to make sure we get going because the boys are coming in after us on days like those. So, but then also some days we go every other week with the boys. So we
Okay.
go at 3:30 one week, and then the next week we go at 4:30, and we'll condition for the first half hour when we go at 4:30, and then we'll be in the room. And so it definitely was better for those Lisbon girls that were coming the 4:30 practice, but it's definitely nice to not have to wait for them to get over
Hmm.
this year. And also, just all of us, we see each other in the hall at school, and just being able to make interactions with those younger freshmen definitely really helps like build their confidence and in the room and just overall. So yeah.
Yeah, I like how you just your split of your room. The switching from 3:30 to 4:30, doing the conditioning first and stuff. It's kind of a good idea. I've heard that from a lot of different schools. Well, we just don't have space, or we don't have, how are we going to do that? I don't know how it's going to fit in, and that's
Yeah.
excuses. There's always a way and stuff. So that's,
Mhm.
it's good to hear those things. It helps me when we're talking to other schools about even doing these different things. Um, what was, the tournament obviously was really good for Mount Vernon this year. The girls really came together. And I'm gonna guess, I mean, you said you had club and stuff, but only having four girls out your freshman year, 4 or 5, to second in state. I mean, that's really impressive. Um, because the level of the girls wrestling has grown so much. I mean, you could
Mhm.
if you look at people that were winning 4 years ago and how many freshmen have come in and people that have been wrestling a long time. How do you think that Mount Vernon was able to, gain that much over the last 4 years? I'm super impressed by that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so honestly, we when we first started my sophomore year, we were just recruiting people, as many people as we could, to just try to fill a lineup. And honestly, it took a lot of begging. Oh, please just come out. You'll love it.
Hmm.
It's so fun. And um, and then even my junior year last year, we had a Addie Wisner who placed fifth, I think, fifth or sixth. She came out just last year, and she's going to be a senior next year. And just trying it out, I was like, Addie, come on, you're gonna love it. Just try it out, and just trying to convince those girls that, hey, it's a fun sport. You're gonna have fun. You're gonna work hard, and you're gonna learn a lot from it. Is hard to convince some girls to do it, but
Yep.
definitely worth it. And we had a good group this year, so yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, it is sometimes hard. I have girls I've been working on for years to try to come out. Even I
Yeah.
had some managers this year. I had a manager 2 years ago that came out and ended up being 2 years in a row blood round of not state, but at regionals and stuff. I always felt bad for her. But if she would have came out as a freshman when I was begging
Yeah.
her to come out, we'd have been in a different story. But um, you said earlier to me before we started, you didn't do a lot of outside events and stuff. You focused on your other sports as you're in those sports. But I know you were in a couple different events because I was at those. Mat of Dreams, you wrestled with the BV team that I put together, and that was actually the first time I met you and stuff.
Hmm.
What are some of the things that you did you enjoy those outside events? Obviously, it looked like you were having quite a bit of fun, but for other people that are watching and stuff, what was cool about doing some of those events and would you recommend doing different things like that?
Yeah, so being on dual teams like that, I've been on quite a few, and it's just super cool to get to meet new people. And then as you go to tournaments in the season, you know people from different schools, and it's just really cool to get to know new personalities, people who you've heard about and you don't really know them, but you know of them. Just getting to know those people and how they function as a teammate, and just knowing those people is definitely really cool and a good experience.
Yeah, the last one that I saw you at prior to state would have been Twin River Duels last year, and Danny and Maylee and Autumn convinced you to come play be on their team and
Yeah,
stuff. What was it like having old Danny as a coach? I absolutely love Danny to death and stuff.
I
So,
love Danny too. I love their whole family. Autumn and I are really good friends, and so it was great being on a team with her. And I'd never, we've wrestled once before we're in the same conference, and so
mhm.
we've wrestled once before there, but then now we're different weights. And so, but she's an insanely good practice partner. Like, that's someone who I would want to drill
Yeah.
with all day. Like,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah. And so it was definitely a lot of fun, and they're great people. So it was awesome.
Yeah, Danny's he's so much fun to have around and stuff. I've learned a lot from him. I enjoy those things because I get to work with other coaches and I get to learn things probably as much as the kids do, if not more, and stuff. Did you do any other have did you do any USA wrestling? I heard you said earlier again before we started that you might want to do Fargo. So have you done much freestyle wrestling?
I've never competed freestyle. So that
Nice.
was also one of the things in the recruiting process where, like, hey, I've never actually done the sport that you're recruiting me for. So it was definitely a little hard in that area, but I've done preseason nationals, which is like a modified
Yep.
folk style type thing. This year it was, at least. So, but I have never actually wrestled freestyle. So we'll hopefully see how that goes this summer.
Are you able to practice? Do you have a some place to practice some freestyle?
Yeah. So I go to McDominate at
Okay.
Cornell, and so Gracie Pinkney, who's one of my teammates, also goes there. So we go there. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I really don't think there's that. I don't think the transition is as hard as some people think. I do a little coaching of freestyle in the, off season with BV. So I don't know. It's takedowns. If you got good takedowns, you're fine because then you never have to worry about being on the bottom.
Yeah.
So that's it. So um what other sports are you in? I think you told me softball. What else do you do?
Just wrestling, track, and then softball. But I also am in the musical. I show sheep in the summer in 4-H, and so I'm very busy.
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah, especially your summers with softball and then showing just all over the place. Do you go county
Yeah,
fairs and then have you been to the state fair with the sheep?
yeah, yeah. So I've actually been to the state fair every year of my life, and
Oh wow.
that's one of the things that's one of my favorite places on earth. I love the state fair. So yeah,
Nice. I have honestly never been to the state fair and
you've
I'm
got to
gonna
go.
maybe this year I'll have to come down and watch you show some sheep. That
Yeah,
I'll give it a try. I've just never done it. I don't know why. I just never have. I no reason. I guess I've just never done it. Um, I was gonna go through. I have a list of questions, but I've added some things to this because I'm on the girls' union advisory committee, and I'm gonna ask people a lot of questions about the state tournament and what we can do to improve the season. So, as far as the Iowa Girls High School Athletic Union state tournament this year, as an athlete, what are your thoughts on that tournament? What do you think is really cool about it? Is there something that you would improve upon?
so I really love the way that the girls' union runs things. They do a phenomenal job, especially compared to sometimes the boys' union. Uh, the girls' union does a lot for e- the whole everyone who qualifies, not just the people who win or. And so, I definitely really appreciate that. But one thing that I've been thinking about the last few days, the well. That's something that eventually, hopefully, they can get the state tournament there. And honestly, right now, Extreme is perfect for the size of spectators that we have right now. But eventually, that environment is would be huge for girls wrestling in Iowa.
Yeah, I wish there was a venue so I'm way older than you and stuff, and I watched tournaments at Vets, and Vets in Coralville have a similar feel because you're kind of right on top of the action and it's loud, and it was really fun. I feel like Wells is so far removed. I don't know. I've never liked watching wrestling at Wells, and I don't know. That's my personal thing. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's a big venue and there's a lot more people that can go into stuff. That's just my little take on that. Um, Anything else at the girls' union tournament that you really love? I like that they put that chair out there. I always take pictures with everybody at the chair.
Yeah.
Little tiny things like that I think are cool. Is there anything else that you can think of that, you know,
Um, I don't think so.
signing the bracket? Do you like signing the
I
bracket?
do like that part. Yeah, that is really cool. The only
That's
thing I don't like about signing the bracket is that like you don't have the fall, however many da 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 da,
oh
or
yeah, you're right.
that's the only thing. But I do really think it's cool that we get to sign our brackets.
So I got a question for you because every time I wrestled my hand, I'd come off the mat and my hands would be like this from holding my forearms would be too tight.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could have signed the bracket very well.
yeah.
How hard
So
is it to sign the bracket?
well, a couple to all except for my finals match, I waited a little while to sign my bracket because I'm also really shaky sometimes. And but with my finals match, I had to like hold on to it. I knelt down because I was like, "Oh God, I can't mess this up." So Yeah, it was
Yeah, because
it's
that's going on the
definitely
wall forever, man.
yeah, I know. So you got to make sure it's good.
Very nice. Anything other than change of venue? Is there anything else you'd change about that tournament?
Um, I don't think
Did you like the two classes this year?
I did not. That's one
You did
thing I
not.
did not like. I also because it just doesn't feel as big when you win it. That's just the one thing for me. And also, one of the reasons they changed it was because of like the session sizes. Like because it was so packed that first day,
Yep.
and it just flipped days. So now it was so packed the second day.
Yeah, and
So it
actually, your guys' session compared to I was 2A.
yeah
So 2A, I thought, oh, this is great because there's so much I can park and everything. And I was late getting back to the 1A session, and oh my God, I ended up parking
yeah
in that parking garage on the top level because that was all that was available. It was
uh-huh
crazy busy down there. So yeah, it was definitely two different feels to the first day sessions from 1A to 2A.
hmm
And quite honestly, I really enjoyed sitting watching 1A. It was
yeah
it was very much fun. So I'm kind of torn on classes because I
hmm
know for some of the smaller schools, it's really nice to be able to maybe have that opportunity to even just compete, especially in our
yeah
area. You know, a lot of the schools like Ridgeview is fairly decent in our area, but you know, if we went all Western Iowa, it'd be pretty tough to qualify if you throw us, Lewis Central, Spencer together. A lot of the small schools don't have a
yeah
real great chance of qualifying somebody. So I get it. I think it's good and bad.
hmm
The sports season. Actually, I had a conversation with some people yesterday. They had talked about the dual tournament. That's something that I think you'll see in the near future, if not next year, the year after, the dual tournament for the girls. Um, what do you think about? What would you, first of all, what would you think about having a girls' state dual tournament?
I think it'd be really cool, especially watching the boys dual tournament. It's awesome just seeing them all come together as a team, especially in such an individual sport. But right now, it would be hard because of how many open weights some schools have. There'd just be a lot of forfeits, but I definitely would be really excited to see that.
Yeah. And do you think we were talking about when would you put that? Do you do it the same time, same day as the boys? You know, could we possibly do it in line with the boys? Maybe switch our tournament up a little bit. Maybe start earlier in the week and then have Friday, Saturday with the boys, or do you take our tournament and drop it back 1 week prior? You know, there's a lot of just different ideas. What would you think about doing it right alongside of the boys?
I think it'd be really cool. That's one of the things that I enjoyed about wrestling with the boys is you also got to watch them and learn from them because that's one of the things that definitely was helped me grow my wrestling skills. But that would be really cool, honestly, and a lot more spectators. There'd be a lot more people forced to watch girls wrestling, and
Yeah.
so I think it would definitely be great for the sport and definitely grow some of the viewers. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you think once people watch girls wrestling, I've talked to so many people, and I agree. Girls wrestling is way more exciting to watch. I don't know too many people that disagree with me. I just think the number of points scored, uh, sometimes boys matches are just boring. You know, it's all defense, and we're waiting for someone to make a mistake, and and girls, it's changed over the last 3 or 4 years, but there's still a lot of points scored. Seems like people are more willing to take a risk and a chance. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so actually our assistant coach, Chance Shelton, we were talking to him later in the season about, well, would you ever go back to coaching boys? And he said, no, never. He would never go back to coaching boys. And I think it's also one of the reasons is probably because we have a lot more to learn.
Hmm.
And especially because the sport is still growing. And it's definitely something that I really enjoy watching girls wrestling, but I also really enjoy watching boys wrestling. So I think hopefully one day we can get it to the point where it's equally as fun to watch both. But um, yeah, it's definitely really good for the sport to have more people come and watch these matches. And it definitely, the girls wrestling, it definitely helps their confidence when they see, hey, people are interested in this. This is something
Yeah.
this is real. Like, this isn't just something that we've been thinking about the last however long we've been working in the room. We're actually getting these people to come watch us. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that was and you're right. It's really cool to wrestle in those environments. It's really cool. I think it would be cool to wrestle alongside the boys. Yeah, it's really grown. It's really definitely more legitimate than it was 5 years ago. I will say
Yeah.
that for sure. And it's
Yeah.
really doing awesome. So, I know you're gonna step away from the sport of wrestling, at least through college. Do you see yourself ever coming back to any type of role in wrestling, whether it's coaching or officiating? Do you think there's anything that we can do to get you back into the sport in 4 or 5 years?
Oh yeah, definitely. I definitely don't want to stop and get away from the sport of wrestling. I love it so much. It's definitely something that I'll definitely try to come back and coach, and definitely
Well,
something that I won't have to be convinced to do. Very
gotcha.
willingly come back.
Nice. So
So
what
yeah,
what is your major going to be at Northern Iowa?
finance.
Finance. Yeah, we'll get you switched over from that. That sounds like a Rachel Waters story. She did something like business and finance or something, and she's like, "Nah, I think I'm going to teach and coach." So we'll get you converted back over. Um, I'm gonna go through just a bunch of fun questions and stuff, and kind of hit on some different subjects besides wrestling. And we'll
Okay.
start easy. So, what's your favorite color?
Probably purple.
You're a purple person. I am also a purple person. It's amazing. It's I don't think yet I've had only one girl say pink the whole time. So everybody's pink or purple, blue, or green. Um, if you could have any pet, and I know you show sheep, but there's some really cool sheep. I've actually I follow all kinds of pages on social media. But what would be your favorite pet if you could have anything you wanted?
Um, I don't know. That's a good, probably like a dog that stays a puppy for
As a
forever.
dog that What kind of dogs?
That
What's your favorite dog?
I like labs. I have a chocolate lab, so I'm kind of biased.
Labs, but you have to let them grow up because they're so stupid when they're young.
Yeah,
They're
I
crazy,
know.
crazy animals when they're young. Um, I am a huge shoe person, and I absolutely love shoes and rest. So I'm gonna ask two things. Are you a shoe person also? Yes, no,
Kind of, but
kind of.
I can't justify spending so much money on shoes. So I think I am, but I sometimes I just have to draw the line.
All right. So just every day, what do you throw on?
Every day I wear my Uggs all the time.
You're Gotcha. So
And
you're not, and
yeah.
Uggs are not a cheap shoe.
No, and I've had mine for like 3 years now. So they're
So they're well broke in.
yes, very.
So what's your favorite wrestling shoe?
Honestly, I like my ones from this year. They were Nike Inflix. So,
Inflix? Yep.
yeah,
I like
I've I've always wanted like the Tokyo uh which ones are they? Trying to think. They're the ones that have like the soles on the
all the way.
bottom, and then
Yep.
on the front they're like orange on the back and then pink on the front.
Oh yes, I know which ones you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name right off the top of my
I
head,
can't
but I know what you're
justify
talking
those.
about.
But
Nice.
I haven't ever justified spending that much money on
Yeah,
wrestling
I
shoes.
I got to get a new pair next year. I gave all mine away, and I bought a cheap pair this year at the very end of season just to get through. But yeah, I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to. Oh, it's gonna be tough because shoes have gotten crazy. I mean, when I
Yeah.
was in high school, and again, date myself, I think the top pair of Asics you could buy were like $60. That was like the top pair, and now they're right around 200, and that's not,
I
that's
know.
just your average shoe. It's kind
Yeah.
of crazy. So
Hmm.
we'll move on a little bit. So it's we just weighed in. You've had a little bit of a rough weight cut this time.
Oh.
What's our go-to food after weigh-ins?
I usually go for some orange juice and then like an Uncrustable, or I'll make myself like a peanut butter and Nutella sandwich. Those
Okay,
are,
I can't do
yeah,
Nutella. I
those
don't
are
know why I can't do it. I just can't. But I love Uncrustables. I'm right with you there. Um, if you can go out and eat your like that guilty pleasure food, what's your favorite thing to go out and have?
Oh man. Um, I like pretty much like a good Cane's, Chick-fil-A, like any type of, or like a Texas Roadhouse,
Hmm.
that they'll like eat as much bread as I can and then good burger. That's probably it.
Is there anything that you absolutely won't eat?
I don't like pickles.
You don't like pickles?
Hate pickles. Yeah.
Ah, what is wrong with you? I don't know. There's it must be that side of the state or something. Yeah, pickles are great. Are you not in no kind of pickle, not a sweet pickle or a dill pickle? No pickles at all. How about just cucumbers before pickled?
They're all right.
Okay.
I'm
All
not
right.
with a little ranch. They're fine, but
Gotcha. So, do you watch much TV or movies or anything?
kind of.
Kind of. Do you have a favorite movie?
The Sound of Music.
Really? You're a
Yep.
musical person, huh? You like all
Yeah.
musicals but that's your favorite.
Yeah.
All right. Are you binging any TV shows you binged or that you really like?
I really liked Bridgerton. It's kind of like it's on Netflix, but I really liked it. Um, I'm waiting for the next season to come out. So
That's the worst part about stuff and binging now is you got to wait. You get it through it, and it's time to
I
wait
know I've
again.
watched it in a day, and then I have to wait another year for the next season to come out.
Then I lose track and interest on it
Uh,
sometimes, and yeah, I've done the same thing. I'm a huge cartoon buff. I love cartoons. I always have my entire life. Do you watch any cartoons?
Not really.
I'm going to suggest you start watching cartoons. They're by far the greatest thing you can do. And I'm going to tell you that you got to start watching a cartoon called Bluey.
Oh,
If you,
okay. My younger brothers watch Bluey a lot, and so it's
oh my
usually on.
God. So I have grandkids and we'll watch Bluey and they'll leave the room and I'm still watching Bluey because I absolutely love the show. So I think maybe you should start watching cartoons a little more. It'll change your life. If you could go on vacation anywhere in the world and do anything you wanted, what vacation would be your ultimate?
I'd probably just go somewhere that I can lay down, tan, and then go shopping. That's probably like a Florida type or California, something like that. Just where I can relax and then I can go shop and then I can come home and relax. And a vacation should be a vacation. I don't really love sightseeing. So that's, I
I'm
like
with you.
relaxing.
Yeah, I'm with you there. If I can go hit the ocean for a while and just chill on the ocean and not have anything to do, that's honestly a great vacation. Um, Favorite music genre? What's your favorite
Um,
stuff?
I don't, I like, I can give you a few artists that I like. I
Okay.
like Rihanna, like Ariana Grande, sometimes Bruno Mars, kind of that genre, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, the I I'm really big on warming up to my music. I It definitely helps me get in my mindset. So that's that's something that I definitely really feel strongly about. So I like my
Yeah.
music. So yeah.
So now here's a question because again, I'm not a big track person. Do you have to get in that same so we'll talk kind of like pre-match ritual type thing, you know, you got to get ready for your match and all those things. Before throwing, do you kind of get in that same mindset or is it different?
Um, so kind of it's definitely different. I don't listen to music for throwing. It's so we have 3 throws and then usually you'll have three more throws in the finals. And so before every throw, I do like a warm up type thing. So like before all of my throws, I'll go through like a dynamic warm up, and then before every one of my throws, I'll do a couple sprints, and then that's kind of it. And then you just have to. It's kind of a more on your own approach. You just have to mentally go through it yourself. So yeah.
How do you get ready for a match? You obviously listen to music, but what's your pre-match?
Yeah, so I go through, obviously, we do our warm up before, and then I do another warm up by myself, go through like sprints, all that jazz. And then I'll go through, do a stretch, and then I'm still listening to my music. And then I'm a big walk back and forth. And if anyone gets in my way, I get so mad. And so I just walk back and forth, and I usually have the same couple songs. They usually change throughout the year, but the same couple songs I listen to before every one of my matches. So yeah.
All right, what are those two songs?
Um, they kind of change. They change throughout the year because I'll get tired of some of them and then often move on to the next song.
How
But
about what
one
was
of
the
the
last song you listened to before your state championship? How about that?
um,
What's that
it
song?
it was Saint Chroma by Tyler the Creator. It's really it's a good song, I think. So yeah.
I will look it up. I don't know it myself, but I
Okay.
love music and I'll look it up. All right. So you got some really good coaches. And
Yes.
I know I mean I just know you have some great coaches. You know, no one builds a team the way that, in 4 years to go from a few wrestlers to second in state. What are some things that probably for the rest of your life you're going to hear in the back of your head that your coach said over and over and over?
Kind of just like my coach all the time, our head coach Trevor Trendy, just all the time. He calls everyone stud. And that's one of the things that really just I know boosts all of our confidence, but it really like it makes me feel good about myself whenever he tells me that. And another one of the things that our assistant coach says to us is last year before my finals match, he would actually it was after my semifinals match. It was frickin' hammer, and so we said frickin' before everything, and so it was it's the stupidest thing, but it's something I'll remember all the time. And our other assistant coach this year, Kate Martin, her dad, Chad, was added to our coaching staff. And he's just the funniest, nicest guy that I've ever met. And so every time you see him in the practice room, hey Chicky, how's it going? Like he's just super, super great person. And then Maddie Plotz, our other assistant coach, actually, she was a senior the year I was a freshman. And so I'm really good friends with her. And seeing her as a coach this year has been really cool. And so just seeing how it eventually comes back around. She was a All-American for Iowa Western last year. And
Nice.
so yeah, it's been really cool just having her in the room again. So yeah.
Very nice. So it's second period, your choice. It landed on red, and probably 9 times out of 10 you guys are red, especially in tournaments, right? So what's your choice?
What's the score? Is it zero
Well,
zero?
let's say, yeah, we'll go. Let's do some scenarios. So, are you basing your choice off of what score is?
Yeah, usually I
Okay.
will.
So it's
But
real close match. No take. Yeah, let's say no takedowns. Are you taking down?
yeah, usually I'll pick bottom, defer bottom. Um, I I wouldn't pick bottom only in the. I think the only time I didn't pick bottom this year was in my finals match at Williamsburg. It was 6-0, and I had just ridden her out the whole last period. So
Hmm.
that's probably the only time that I'll pick something other than bottom, just because I've worked so hard on getting better at bottom that I trust myself now that I can get out. And so, yeah.
Yep, right there's that what you just said is probably the most important part. You've worked so hard at bottom, you're now confident in that
Yeah.
position. I just
Yeah.
think a lot of times we're not confident in the down position, and I think it
Hmm.
comes from the difference between boys and girls is sometimes that upper body strength
Yeah.
and stuff. But you probably, I'm gonna guess, if you're as good as you are at throwing, you probably hit the weight room once or twice in the year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so you're in there a lot.
Yep.
Do you think we'll move on a little bit differently here? So, weight room. I preach the weight room a lot. It's tough to get people in because I'm in 5 different schools. So, we have kids from all over, and I can't really set a program. How important was the weight room for your championships?
Yeah. So growing up, I've grown up on a farm my whole life. So I kind of have a little strength from there, I guess, baling hay through the summer. But getting into high school, our strength program is insanely good. Our strength coach, Preston Peterson, does an amazing job. And it's just fun to go in there and lift. And he's a great motivator. And we actually have a class during the day that we lift in. It's called Mustang Strength and Speed. And so we'll do some speed work. And then we also go up and lift 3 times a week. And so um, with that, that's I lift 3 times a week during wrestling season, and then also during track season, I'll lift 3 times a week in school, and then usually we have 2 lifts outside of school in practice. And so it's definitely been a huge component this last fall. I was in the weight room all the time. My bench went up by like 25 pounds.
Nice.
It really was something that was really important for this season, and just getting better for not only wrestling but also track. So yeah.
Very good. So, I'll go all 3 positions. Go to moves. What's your takedown?
A sweep single
Sweep
usually.
single.
It's safe. I've worked on it a lot. Every once in a while I'll throw in like a high crotch or something. I've also been working a lot on my fireman's, just coming up from that snap down and then right into it.
Hmm.
And so, and then,
That makes me happy. I'm a fireman's guy, so I warms my heart. There you go. Um, Off bottom. You said you've been working a lot on bottom. What are we
yeah.
doing right off the
So
whistle?
I usually I block the chop and then go right up to a tripod and then knee slide usually, and then just work up from there. Or just like a sit out, just controlling hands, getting to a good position to where I can stand up. Yeah, I've definitely gone through. And then always a good fat boy roll. Can never
There you
go wrong.
go.
So,
I think they're awesome. I love them. So, top. What's our pin? How are we
um,
pinning everybody?
well, it's kind of changed. I definitely, as the sports evolved, I used to be a big power half girl, and honestly, it still works. And that's one thing with boys wrestling where you never see halves ever anymore. And it's like I joke about it to my teammates. I'm like, yeah, they're too good for a half. But it's it still works, and obviously girls are getting better at defending those moves, but It's a good half. You catch it. Oh, it's bread and butter. But also, I love a good bar arm or butcher. I worked a lot of different variations of those this year just because Donnybrook, I kind of had trouble with one girl, and then we just worked through all of the variations of how we can pin from there. So, yeah.
Nice. Very good. So you have been granted the NFHS, the people that govern the sport of wrestling across the country. They make the rules. They've said, Libby, you can change one thing about wrestling, one rule about wrestling. It doesn't matter. What are you changing?
Oh, man. I don't know. That's a good question. Um, I don't know if I loved the 3 point takedown from 2 point to 3 point. Obviously, it finishes the match if you're working towards a tech fall a lot faster now, but I I miss yelling too. So
I still
that's
yell to
definitely
you a
one
lot.
that might that I know, same. And so that might be my one change.
I don't think that's a horrible change at all. Um, I think I've gone through everything I can think of, and I always like to give like somebody the opportunity to have some final thoughts on the your career, what's coming up, doesn't matter. What are your final thoughts for today?
Um, I don't really know if I have any. Let me think. I guess I just really appreciate you having me. And one of the things last year, actually, I talked to you right before my finals match, and you just said a couple quick words to me, and people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, you got this. Hey, this is your match." That completely changes a person's perspective, and I've had a couple of people like that throughout both wrestling and track, and it's been huge. And so, just the little things. Don't be afraid to say something to someone. So yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, I think you thought I was some crazy guy for a little while because I remembered you from Mad Dreams and stuff, and I don't think you
Yeah.
remember me 100%. Or like, who was that guy? Because I kept saying, I think they underrated you. Are you underrated this year? You're gonna win that match and stuff. So yeah, I know. I remember that, and you'd look at me like, who's that crazy guy? But that's okay. No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. No, I'm so happy you came on. I love doing I love doing the podcast and first of all, but I've had so much fun connecting with some different girls that maybe I didn't know real well and stuff. And
Hmm.
I'm excited for your career at Northern Iowa. I'm gonna have to start becoming more of a track fan and see if I can't follow that career, see if we're in the Olympics
Yeah.
someday. It should be awesome. So, but thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you later.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.